Welcome to The Engaging Life, a podcast about using engagement equity to improve your relationship building skills in your personal and professional life. And now, here are your hosts, Brandon Suba and Angela Cheney.
Well, Brandon.
Angela.
Welcome to the new set.
Yes, that's right. So, for those of you listening and not on the UB2B, they revamped the studio, and it's a whole new world.
I kind of want to put my office in here now.
It's
very relaxing.
It is relaxing. I agree.
I think we need some botanical oils.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we have
air.
little botanical.
Oh, they're fake.
Well, I know. Oh, that matters.
Just some.
Just some. So anyways, go to the Pixel Fire YouTube page if you would like to see the new set, because we've taken it up a notch. We still have the engagement equity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that the right?
That's it.
Good.
Yeah.
E-book right here in front of me, so I don't have to point behind myself. And gosh, it does. We look real professional today.
We look fantastic.
Real professional. I was told.
We're out at the barn.
We're out at the barn.
Mm-hmm.
To see the background here. I was listening to one of our other episodes, and it was the one where I messed up your name. That really made me laugh the second time, because we've known each other for a long time.
Bob.
Brian.
Was it Brian? Was it one of our afternoon recording episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that was one of those.
Explain.
This is one of our first morning ones.
Yes, so we have had many reschedules due to many unforeseen circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So we're recording on a Friday today. Normally we record on Wednesdays. Not that it really matters, as it comes out on the same day anyway.
Yeah.
But
Content's still good.
and the content is still good. But
And
we got our Friday game faces on.
And this can show you I wake up this way. I don't want. I think some people think it's fake, right? Like my excitement is fake. It is not.
It's not.
No, I wake up this way.
Brandon.
I do go to sleep a lot quicker than I did when I was younger. I think it's 2 children and a life.
Yeah.
Wear you down.
Yeah.
Wear you down.
It does.
Speaking of wear you down, no, I'm just joking. That's not a good segue.
So back to the show.
Yeah, let's talk about
Back to
the
the
Engaging
show.
Life, shall we?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back.
So we're still going through the customer value journey.
Gotten a
That's
new
what we're
name for
doing.
it yet?
We have not gotten
CBJ?
a new name for it yet. We have been focused on other things, but we will at some point have a branded CBJ.
Ooh.
But we do not yet. So customer value journey. Basically, this is what you need to do to take your customers from prospect all the way to raving fans. And pretty much most people stop, most businesses stop after they've sold them. Sold them something, whether it's a product or service, and move on to the next. And that's really like step 2 of the CBJ. And so they're missing all these other steps that will really take your business to the next level. Because when you stop at selling, basically you're starting from scratch every single time.
Sure.
And it's work all the time. It's kind of the difference between me being a writer and making money writing versus me managing writers who are making the money for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't have to put the work in anymore.
Right.
Other people are doing it for me.
All famous rap artists that make a lot of money are directing the rap artists now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's less sweat equity and more, really focusing on building something that is going to give you passive income.
Okay.
But you will continue, obviously, to go back to. So it's like a flywheel.
Right.
You'll continue to go back to the earlier steps because you'll always be bringing on new clients and taking them through the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So just to recap there, we've already talked about step 1, which is awareness. So that's branding, making sure everybody knows who you are, what you do, what makes you different from your competition. So that's step 1. Step 2 is engage. So that's engaging with them, getting them to start liking your social media, commenting, maybe responding to newsletters, things that you're sending out. 3 is subscribe. That's when people are actually subscribing to your newsletter. So they're opting in.
Yeah.
Basically, 3 is opting in. So now we're to step 4. And of course, it goes without saying that I've also talked about relationships, as relationships really mirror the CBJ as well, and I can't talk exclusively about business because that's just not my nature.
Right. And you love relationships.
I
All
do.
different kinds. The good and the
I love
bad.
talking about them.
Yes.
I
And
always love
analyzing.
being in them, but I love talking about them and analyzing them and picking them apart. Yeah. Usually the other people in the relationship doesn't like as much as I do.
I only once they find out. That's what you're doing.
It's like, are we talking about it again? But it's true joy of my life. Psychology major.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep. So step 4 is conversion. So you've already got people to subscribe, and sometimes at this point they've already bought something. So at some of these earlier levels, maybe you've sold a cheap, inexpensive
Yep.
product or service, or you've at least gotten them to take a step to invest, whether it's money or time.
Mhm.
They've invested something in your company by this stage. So conversion is really when you get them to start discussing your products or services. So they've probably, bought something little, or they're at least part of your business. You want them to start talking about it because that's a buy-in.
Okay.
So it's the same thing, and I'll work this in there. You start dating somebody new. If you don't really like them yet, you're usually not telling your family about them, right? You might be talking to your one friend. Yeah, Bob's okay, but he had kale in his teeth last night, and you're picking it apart with a friend, but you're not going to go tell your parents until you've converted to, hey, I'm going to get in a relationship with this guy.
Sure.
They're going to meet him at some point. So when you're trying to get your prospects to convert, that's basically what you're doing. If they start telling, their employees about working with you, if they start telling their colleagues about working with you, you've really got them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're buying in. They're like, okay, we're going to have a relationship with this provider of products or services. So like with Pixelfire, we're going to have a relationship with this marketing company. They're going to start, you're going to start seeing them around. You're going to start hearing their name. You're going to start seeing emails from them. You may be having, you're going to have to start sending pictures to them for our social media, or you're going to have to give a bio to them for the new website that we're doing. So once they start talking about it, that's basically when the conversion happens. And of course, conversion can also mean they're buying more. So they're talking about you, or they've bought the next level of products or services. So with Pixelfire, maybe they started out in the subscribe stage. Maybe they started to do a few social media posts with us.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, we'll start with the base version. We'll do 3 posts a week. Okay, that's kind of the base version of our social media. We call it not marketing, that's just awareness.
Right.
And then in the convert stage, maybe they like how that's going. People have started to talk about it in the office. They've started to tell people, and they're like, okay, let's take that to the next stage and let's do the actual social media marketing package, which costs more, more intensive, going to produce better results, but that can be the next stage in conversion as well. Okay. So how do you get your prospects or new clients to convert?
Well, like you said, they've dipped their toe.
Right.
And here's what I was thinking when you were talking about telling your team, hey, you're going to be getting emails from people. I think sometimes, and same, just like your dating analogy, sometimes businesses jump in too quick too.
Oh yeah.
Because I know I've been in areas where like, hey, you're gonna be hearing from John. I'm like, okay, great. And then 2 weeks later, it's like John didn't work out.
Yes.
So I really think this is an important piece, because this is the make and break piece. And like you said, people have already put some money into this.
Yeah.
So I feel this is the step, and you even said this, people have stopped by now, but I think this is the step that to answer your question, it's really, really hard.
It is.
And it takes the experience and knowledge and commitment of both parties to be making this happen.
And especially if, like you said, okay, we're going to work with John.
Yep.
John didn't work out. Businesses, prospects, customers, they've been burned.
Yes.
They've been burned. They've been made promises that didn't work out. They've told their employee, it's just like you tell your mom that I've got a new boyfriend, and then next week he cheats on you, and mom's like, when are you bringing Bob to dinner? And you're like, never mind.
No, it's I really liked Bob. It's like, oh, hey, Bob was a creep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's that same thing. You've got people who are gun shy. So they're like, okay, we started to do this, but they really need something to prove that it's going to work out this way.
Right.
They need to feel confident about your business. They need to feel confident about partnering with you, especially if things have not worked out in the past. And you're going to get some of those. Unless it's a brand new business who's never worked with whatever, like with us, they've never worked with a marketing company before, which that happens.
Yeah.
But I would say 70% of the businesses we work with have come from another marketing company that they were unhappy with.
There was a local business here, and they used another marketing company, and they did this big campaign and everything. And then they started referring people over to Pixel Fire, and I was like, I mean, great, but why? And they go, oh, horrible experience. But we were so committed that they couldn't just not use the stuff that they paid all this stuff for. But that to me is that conversion where they had that bad experience. They had the step 3, maybe even only to step 2. Yeah. Like, here, let's go to them.
Well, it's the same thing it's a lot easier to break up with somebody you've been dating for 2 weeks than to get a divorce.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Once you've invested time and money, I mean, not only is there the time and money you've invested, but it's the psychological thing of it. True. It's like, I have to admit I'm a failure. I have to admit I wasted all this time and money. What does that say about me? I mean, there's so many layers. It's very, very, very similar.
And I see it more as I'm not good at breaking up with people. So I'd be like, man, now I got to tell you that you suck. Sorry. But you suck.
It's a lot easier to do if you've been dating a few months than if you've been married for 10 years and have 2 kids.
I think I'm going to start telling Isabel that as she's dipping her toe in dating, be like, hey, it's easier to break up after 2 weeks than, even a year. Just saying. Yeah. Cut this guy.
But it can be hard too. I mean, on the flip side, because you might start seeing the red flags, but then you second guess yourself in both situations. You know, whether it's a new relationship, whether it's working with a new business. Well, their person didn't get back to me when they said they would, but maybe, or he didn't call me when he said he would, but, because there's that fear too of cutting it off too soon.
Correct.
And then there's maybe I should have given him a second chance. Maybe it was me. Maybe I didn't tell them the right time to call, or maybe I didn't give them the information they needed. So there's so much of this. So that can be hard too.
It can.
It's like there's a sweet spot of, okay, this isn't going to work out, but you haven't wasted years and a lot of time. There's that sweet spot that few of us
can find. And I was like, so Angela, as a successful business owner for many, many years, you've hit every sweet spot, right? That's just how it goes.
Yeah, no. You learn from the mistakes, and it's rare that you hit that exact sweet spot. You either have to deal with, okay, I have some regrets, maybe I didn't do things right, or you have to deal with, okay, I wasted some time. For the most part, you're never going to be like, I did that exactly right.
Nailed it.
Best breakup ever. That rarely happens. So we've talked about why it's important, why the conversion stage is important. So how do you do it? Okay. So one of the things you need to do is to keep your ads running, because it's nice to think that people who have reached this stage know all of your product offerings, but they may not. And that could be the fault of you as the salesperson.
Right.
Okay, most of the time it is.
It's always the salesperson.
Or you just don't think they would be interested in something, especially if you have, say we bring on this client that I've been talking about. They started with 3 ads a week, or the 3 posts a week, and then they went up to the more social media marketing. And maybe we think, well, they already have a website, so we're not even going to talk to them about that. And it turns out they don't like their website.
Yep.
We looked at it, we thought it looked fine, so we've not tried to sell them on a website. And they might not even know we have website services because we're working with them on the marketing side. Well, if we have ads running, that are touting the different services, and they see that, they'll be like, oh, this company that we work with also does websites, and we've been unhappy with our website for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And it's also the solidification of the brand. So, they've started to work with you, and now they're seeing your ads, and your ads look good, and other people are responding to the ads. It reinforces their decision to work with you.
That's a big one for me, because before I spent my time with Pixel Fire, it was a really weird, interesting. I was working with a company out of Kansas City. It was weird, but their LinkedIn and their Facebook was garbage. Like, just garbage. And I'm like, but you're selling this. Mm-hmm. You're selling these processes that you are not good at. Mm-hmm. It makes a huge difference.
It does.
And it's a bigger challenge to the do as I say, not as I do when it's in the business and you're trying to help a company.
Right.
But I think people miss that.
Yeah.
They miss it.
Well, it's the physician, heal thyself, whatever you're in, you're not usually doing it for yourself.
Every car guy has a broken car.
Right.
The HVAC guy has a old crappy AC that's barely running. They keep it. Yeah, it's true.
And unfortunately, in our business, it's very visible.
Yes.
We are doing our own marketing well or not. So it's ultra important in our business because the last thing we want is for somebody to be like, why would I want to run ads with them? They have crappy ads or no ads.
Yes, no ads. Yep.
Or, we put a lot of work and time and effort into our new website because that's our flagship. Why would anybody want a website from us if our website stinks?
Mm-hmm.
But it's really, really hard to do because you want to take care of your clients.
Right.
And that's what all of our time and energy goes into. So doing things for your own business looks like it's not making any money, and it seems like, and it's a very easy thing to push to the back burner when honestly it should be the most important thing.
Right. Well, even like waiting rooms, right? People don't think much about a waiting room, but investing a little time, money, and effort for that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a waiting room, and for some reason I have a dentist. I have the Finding Nemo waiting room with the fish in my head for some reason.
Yeah.
But it needs to reflect your culture and what you stand for. And I think even Pixel Fire, you guys, when you got all your new desks and the new arrangement and everything, I really felt the change fit more into when you walk in here, you feel the flow from beginning to end.
Yes.
Versus, and for startups and stuff, it's tough, right? You bought an executive desk off Facebook Marketplace that works great.
Which I think that's okay because, again, it's not about putting the most flashy thing out there. Correct. It's reflecting who you are. If you're a bootstrap startup and you're trying to get investors, the last thing I want to see when I walk in is that you have a $5,000 desk.
Yes, with a huge building.
I want to see you working off a cardboard box.
In a closet.
Yeah. And kind of the same thing too with like a doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going in there and I'm on Medicaid and, I'm trying, and I walk in there and it's smoked glass and all that, it's like, what am I paying for this? Am I paying more for them? Whereas if you're going to a boutique place for Botox,
then it better be. If there's not a fountain in there, walk out.
Right. Yeah, it's a different experience, and it has to fit the brand. It has to fit the services. It has to fit who you are.
Right.
So ads. Email is another good one because this, again, they've already subscribed. So they've already subscribed to your newsletter or to your updates or whatever it is. But sending out something very regularly, number one, you can talk about the other products and services you have. You can encourage them to upgrade to the next level by, maybe doing a testimonial of somebody who has the next level of service. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But then it's also getting them involved with your brand and culture. Mm-hmm. Whether that's we're having an event this Friday for our valued customers we love, you come in and have some free drinks, or whether it's just telling stories or having pictures from the office. Any of that stuff, you're getting them to engage more with you. They're it's being reinforced. Yeah, I like doing business with this company. Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit more. So email's a great way. Text is another great way.
Communication.
That's text is pretty much how people are really moving towards communicating. They don't like being on the phone. They're not reading email as much. Everything's right there. And they like texts, and that could be a reminder of an appointment. I'm a big fan of that. I like that.
It's been a while since we've seen
specials, events, anything like that.
And I want to point out two things. Number one, not selling. These are all things that you're sharing testimonial stories on, not selling. Right. So they get the exposure, but not being sold to. And then number two, this is very opposite of step one. Right. Step one is encourage others, get exposure. Yeah. This is a little more driven, and the point I want to make is, and I'm going to tell Pixel Fire because I love Pixel Fire, but a professional does this step a lot better than your amateur. Mm-hmm. Amateurs can make it through step one, I think, just by accident sometimes.
Yep.
But step four, and step four makes a big difference.
Yeah,
a huge difference.
Absolutely. And what you just said too, you're not selling.
No.
What you are working on here is giving them something worth discussing. Because why are they going to talk about you if there's nothing good to talk about? You've got to give them something worth discussing. So that could also be sharing, you're still sharing good articles or jokes or something that they want to pass on. Because, what excites you enough to go home at night and talk to your wife about it. Business wise.
Business.
You know what?
Good experiences. Something unique. Something different.
Something informational.
Yep.
Something you can learn from. I mean, that's what I go home and share. Wow, did you know XYZ? Did you know? Because that's how I am. Sometimes it'll be funny, you know. Oh, I heard, this was funny. But it's got to kind of go to that next level for me to start sharing it with other people. There's plenty of stuff I will respond to personally, but once I take that next step to share it with someone else, it's got to be pretty good.
That's got to be good stuff.
Yeah. So here you're trying to set yourself apart. So giving this good information is really going to make you different than a lot of your competitors who are just trying to sell, who are either just trying to sell or they drop the ball completely and stop talking to you after you bought something.
Yes. And that is more common than it should be.
Yes. And it's so easy to do. On to the next one, on to the next one.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't realize the lifetime value of a customer. They don't realize that it's easier to keep a customer and keep upgrading them than to find a new one.
See, and this is the challenge I had with Grant Cardone's The 10X Factor. His whole thing was screw keeping the customer, always be getting more. He's all about your prospecting and you're always bringing someone because you're going to lose someone no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, okay, but if you play your numbers right, your loss is going to be lower and your gain, because of step 4, your gain is going to be higher because people are talking about it. It's more organic. Where, I mean, he has a whole chapter about how he talked to every business in Texas. He did the whole damn state. So then he had to go to a new state. I was like, that sounds exhausting,
really
man. Exhausting.
But it is both. Like I said, it's
right.
You're
It's a
never
cycle.
going to stop bringing on if you're trying to scale your business.
Correct.
I mean, there may be some industries. Let's say you're a counselor or a psychotherapist. You only have time to see so many.
Correct.
And if you're full, you really can't
Right.
take on anymore. I mean, you could scale your business and maybe start doing webinars, where you there are definitely ways around it if you want to scale. Some don't.
But yeah, there's only so much time in a day
Right.
that a human can do. Yeah.
Right. But like for a business like ours, a business like yours, you do want to continually,
Always.
you're working all the steps at all times.
Correct.
Depending on where each one is,
Right.
in the journey. The customer value journey.
Customer value.
Customer value journey. All right, so let's flip-flop this now to relationships.
All right.
Even though we've already talked about that a little bit. So again, this is the stage in a relationship, the convert stage, where you're going to start talking to family and friends about this person that you've entered this new relationship with. So there's a strong possibility these other people are going to meet this person now. That's how excited you are about it. You've kind of done the vetting process, and you're like, okay, this might be going somewhere. You're going to start telling mom and dad about them. And then you're going to want the buy-in of those close to you. You're going to want mom to meet him and be like, I like that boy. And the same way with business. You're going to want your employees to say, I really like working with Pixelfire. They're really responsive. They do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
And so that's basically, you're requesting buy-in. And that's on both sides of it. The business side as well as the personal side. Because you can't get buy-in if you're not talking about it.
Right. And you're skewed if you're not getting others to buy in too, because then you start questioning, oh, my mom didn't like you.
Right.
Although I'm raising 2 daughters, so I believe that means if mom doesn't like him, then like, oh, I'm going to go. Then he's the one.
Well,
I mean, I'm just trying to
there's
prepare myself
that
mentally.
too. There is absolutely that too. The more you tell your kid not to do something, the more they want to do it.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yes, but in adult relationships, for the most part, if they're going to start talking about you, they want the people in their life to like you.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the convert stage. So I won't go into much more on that because I already talked about relationships a little bit earlier in this podcast. But do you have anything else to say about step 4?
I just want to reiterate, like this is. Let me start over. We're going into the part of the journey that people drop the ball on.
Yes. Yes.
And what's the coin? Leaving money on the table, right? And I'm now reaching the point in my career where I am actually on stage 4 because I'm now going back to say, hey, this experience is great. Who else would want it? I've been working with a pharmacist, and we just added pharmacists to the whole repertoire. I said, by the way, if you love your concierge service, I can give any pharmacist this concierge service. Would love it. And her response was, "That's amazing to hear. I will definitely be talking about you."
Yes,
Right? Exactly
yes.
what we're. And so to get the exact response that I'm looking for, and it was just 100% not selling anything. Like, hey,
Mhm.
tell everyone this account. No, it was just, I can now help other people the way I've helped you.
Yeah.
If you appreciate it, let's roll with it. And I think salespeople are always in that mindset. And they get pressured too.
Mhm.
Go make a new sale. You already
Yes.
closed that.
Yes.
Move on. Where I think there is value to cultivating relationships that will bring you more people.
Yes, and that's an important distinction to make if you mortgage or
Yep.
the big ticket items, and that's why a lot of people drop the ball on that because they're not going to buy another house from me.
Right.
They're not, and they don't realize that doing this it gets referrals.
Yep.
If you've got to keep them engaged with your product or service, not only because they probably will buy another house 5 years from now, 6 years from now, but they're all the people they're going to tell.
Yeah.
And you are dropping so many balls if you're like, sold you your house, bye-bye.
Peace.
Or if
Yeah.
all of your social media marketing is about new house, because who's going to stop looking at those? The people who just bought a house.
Correct.
But if you have more information, how to use the new Pantone color in your new bathroom, stuff that people who have already bought the house can use, they will stay engaged, continue to talk about you. Because even if they have a good experience with you, they're probably only going to remember it for a short amount of time if you stop talking.
Yes.
So maybe for 3 months, they might recommend you to somebody who's looking for a realtor. 3 years, probably not.
Nope. And they've already met 7 other people
Yes.
that do this. Maybe a friend got into it. I'm hesitant on my friend got into it, so I use them now. Just because your friend's been doing it for 6 months does
Mhm.
not mean that the person that's been doing it for 5 years is less valuable. Like they still have more experience. And that's getting into any industry. I think of financial planning, like that has to be so hard to get started because everybody knows somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's a lot of when you're ready.
It takes a lot. You're basically waiting for the other person to drop the ball.
Pretty much.
It's pretty much
Or
what
die.
you're doing.
Some case there is once they die, you can
Or
be mine.
get into or start a new job.
Or leave the industry. And I don't think that's good either as a consumer. But here's what I've learned in my many years of sales. You can't control the consumer at all.
No.
You can't train a client. You can't teach a client. It amazes me, and I know you deal with this. You can lay everything out perfectly. And they, I get it. I'm on board. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, you never mentioned this.
Mhm.
You're like, no, you signed a piece of paper that said, I mentioned this.
Right. Or they say, my nephew decided he's going to do our website.
I can't imagine the websites.
I still have one. This was way back in my previous employment, I think. Yeah, well, that's I had a stroke there. Stop. It was a landscaping company, and they needed a new logo for their ad. So
Okay.
it wasn't my last. It was a print ad, and we're like, well, we can do a new logo for you. So we put all this work into this new logo for this landscaping company, and then he's like, no. After we done all that, he's like, no, I did it on my own, and I'm gonna go with this one, and he sent it to us, and it looked like 2 hairy meatballs. They were supposed to be bushes, I think. It was like 2 hairy meatballs.
Oh my God.
But he did it himself, so what do you say? This is the worst logo I've ever seen in my life.
That really gets the customers rolling in when you bash their own stuff.
And it was hard because we had to put it in an ad. Nobody was going to respond to this ad unless it was with laughter.
Yeah.
And so the ad didn't work, of course.
But that's your fault now.
But you couldn't say your hairy meatball logo.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so
Oh my
there
gosh.
are some cases where you just kind of have to bite your lip and be like,
And
well,
it is what it
it
is.
is what it is.
No, again, you can't control your clients, and you can't teach them everything. But that's why they hire you, and you're the expert. And
Yeah.
and I think how you guys navigated that, or not just saying, well, this is garbage. If anything, you gain credibility
Right.
Even if they point fingers, because they do, but it's like,
Well,
okay,
if anybody
tried it.
saw it and was like, "Oh, your ad didn't work. I wonder why."
Yep.
You know, somebody else had to see it.
Correct. Just like sometimes someone else has to tell you your spouse, or not your spouse, but your relationship isn't that great.
Right.
Because they're the outside looking in. And,
Yeah.
but again, as we're going down this journey, I think we are now to the dark part of the woods that people try to avoid. And honestly, like I said, step one can be done by an amateur by mistake. This takes time, effort, and actual collaboration with your plan. So I think this is one of the most important as we're going through.
It is, and it is hard. It is right in that gray
Yep.
area. But if you can get through this and get to step 5,
Oh, just wait for step 5.
excite.
Hot diggity dog.
Even the name of that step shows you that it's going to get more fun. Excite. So once you start getting into that stage, that's when people are talking you up and they're excited to work with you. And that's when you get energized, come in and meet the client who's all pumped to work with you. It's a fun step. So make sure that you tune in either audio or a visual.
Check out the YouTube.
You should,
Check out
because
the YouTube
and then
channel.
we're going to start switching this up.
Are you serious?
And, yeah.
Oh, see, and for those
See,
listening,
it's not an actual barn door.
I knew that, to be clear.
I'm telling you.
Tried to open the door. No, this was all a surprise to me today, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
In our new
Definitely.
recording studio.
Definitely check it out, and even if you can't, please listen to
Yeah,
it.
keep
We'll
listening.
have some great information to share about Step 5, Excite, on the next episode.
Well, it won't be.
On
The
the
next episode. On a future episode.
There we go. Let's go with that.
Excite.
All
Oh.
right. Well, thank you, and we will talk to you next time.